You know, there's an old piece of graffiti scribbled onto the side of an access hatch in cargo bay C of this old ship. Past a corridor too narrow for them to squeeze through and see it. In Galactic Standard it reads, "If your human is angry, run for your life. If your human is scared, don't even bother." I can't help but think about it as I look across the medical bay I preside over, at old Sergeant Cortez, sitting just outside the private exam rooms, his face set in stone, his expression telling me he would gladly be back in the front lines of the Shi'el uprising, dodging plasma shells like the one that finally made him retire, then sitting there, waiting. One of his hands is clasped in the other, the bionic one there to stop the shaking and his organic one from showing. I can still remember when I first met him, when the medical corps brought him to my ward in 3 trips. He still refuses to tell me what was the meaning of those strange words, booze and hookers, he kept yelling about, or why these implements were so essential for his retirement party, but I can still clearly remember his loud boom of a laugh as he joked and swore with his squadron mates, even as his nerves were being grafted into his new prosthetic by the Biosultra. And yet here he is, doing his best not to run away, and it takes every bit of professional composure I learned back in the Healing Temple to not encourage him, and beg me to take me with him. Why? Because we can both hear what is going on in Exam Room 3. The sounds of the tall she brought can clearly be heard along this entire deck of a ship, even for a species without my own secondary and tertiary hearing organs. Too often I bragged about them with the troops down in the mess deck, over a few rounds of vapors. I'm able to hear a human's massive heart from 2 rooms away, but now I just want to stuff them full of gauze, so I don't have to hear. Because Cortez can only hear those void-damned, demonic-looking tools, but I can also make out the soft whimpers coming from it. Because Cortez can only hear those void-damned, demonic-looking tools, but I can also make out the soft whimpers coming from Lieutenant Kimura, who has already been in there for the better part of a standard hour. If I hadn't seen him go in, trembling like a Gorvaxian recruit facing his first joint human training exercise, I would not believe those pitiful sounds would be coming from the same 19-year-old human that, just last week, was patiently explaining to the fleet commander just why he had felt a shrapnel-ridden fusion core could be kept from exploding by hitting it just right with my lucky socket wrench. And yet he is in there, with that damned woman, who I am actually supposed to believe has any good excuse to bolt wires into my friend's maw. The door finally opens and poor Jackie finally steps out, red-faced and holding a freeze pack to his single set of mandibles. The sergeant looks up and can't hold back a small squeak of fear that only I can hear. Apparently, it is her opinion that Cortez has 4 too many bone protrusions in his own mandible, and they simply must be ripped out without mercy, and I can't do anything to stop her. Let this be a lesson for all of you who read this. If the human brass tell you they are sending her, hide your human friends. Do not trust her. She is no healer. I don't know why they send her, but she is no healer. Pain and suffering are her only concerns. Beware the one the humans call the dentist.